Hey everybody, Bones here, Bones Garage. Just bringing you update what's going on at the garage. So, 1977 Corvette restomod. She is coming out absolutely fantastic. We have the whole top of the motor off. The reason we're doing this is because we are changing out this single plane composite manifold to a dual plane, and I'll show you that in a minute. Now, I'm going to tell you why we're changing this out. The guys who built this motor said this manifold is a very good high RPM manifold. It will let the car idle, it'll let the car run at full throttle, but anything in between there, it's not the greatest of manifolds. Another problem we have with this manifold, there are no vacuum ports on this manifold. We have vacuum operated headlights, a vacuum operated windshield wiper door. We also have a distributor that has a vacuum on it that we have to have hooked up. So this manifold cannot accommodate any of that. The company who makes this manifold, AFR, has since stopped production of this manifold. They no longer produce it, so I can't even get the pieces to make vacuum ports on this. So in other words, this manifold is pretty much done. There's our distributor cap. There's all our custom length made wires going to everything. I showed you, I'll show you that when it goes back on the motor. And then if we come over here, this is the manifold we're going to be using. It's an Edelbrock RPM air gap manifold. Very nice manifold. I talked to the company who built the motor, told them what I want to put on, and they were all in agreement. They said this manifold is going to run that car so much better for the street than the other one. Plus, we have a vacuum port for it, so we can pull vacuum to get all of our stuff working. We also have two temperature sending unit ports. So we can put the one port for the dashboard and the other port can go for the electric fans. This is the distributor we have in there. This is, I've been telling you guys about this distributor for a while. It's in my Cadillac. This is that distributor that you can Bluetooth it and program your timing curve. I wouldn't really call it a curve. You could just program your timing, I would say. So this way the car will run to what fuel you have in there. I love this distributor. I have it in my cars and it runs great. I have it in a number of other cars and it is absolutely a fantastic distributor. And every car that I've put it in, the owners have said the same thing. I am so glad that I went with that distributor. It's made my car so much more streetable, especially with the higher compression motors trying to run pump gas. No matter where you get your gas, different stations have different additives and different things in the fuel. So a lot of times you'll run 93, but you'll still get a ping from one gas station, and you'll run 93 from another gas station and won't get a ping. So you can change your timing on the fly. You don't have to take everything apart, change weights, change springs, change vacuum advance, whatever you have to do to get it right. This, you take out your phone, you push a couple of buttons, boom, you turned your timing down at that RPM range. And it will get rid of your ping. If you look, you can see right here, the vacuum advance curve is locked out. It is where it is. It is all controlled by this circuit board right there. Everything controlled by this circuit board, and it reads what your car is doing through this map sensor right there. And that's all you need. Now you're ready to rock and roll. This is such a great setup. I absolutely love that distributor. Another thing I want to show you on this motor, like I said, it is a 434 cubic inch small block. 434 cubic inches on a small block. That is just ridiculous. That is so great. I love that. We are a full roller lifter and cam setup with the ties. And we also have a full roller rocker arm setup, and on our exhaust we have a 1:5 rocker, and on our intakes we have a 1:6 ratio rocker. So this is really nice. We have a dual spring setup with a nice heavy spring in there. Our rockers have trunnions as well as roller tips. So this motor is just sweet. We have a nice set of AFR heads on here, and look at how big those intake ports are. They are huge. It is a beautiful, beautiful setup. I mean, look at the machining that was done on those things. This motor is going to be so nice. I am so looking forward to getting this motor started. It's an aftermarket block, and you can tell that by the back of the motor. That's all heavy duty, hard, really hard, high nickel content steel that this is, or cast iron that this is made out of. So this motor is going to be extremely, extremely durable. It has only been run on the test bench, and that is it. It has never been actually run in a vehicle. So this is going to be the first car it's going to be running. Another thing we have all done, we have the new radiator completely in now and almost ready to go. We're going to pull it out. All this up here, we're going to paint radiator black. So this way it's not as bang in your eye. We want to keep it a little bit better. We also made a tie to go across here, which helps secure the radiator. It helps keep it nice and stiff in there. Normally, the fan shroud would be tied from here to there and then down to the bottom of the radiator. But we wanted to keep these radiator mounts nice and solid, nice and in their place where they need to be, especially during the times that he's going to put this on a track and race this car. So we have this gigantic, huge radiator in here. We have our two fans. Both of them are 1550 CFMs. The motors are 18 amp motors. So these things are going to draw, no matter how much crap you put in front of this radiator, they're not going to slow down, and they're going to draw good amounts of air. Because you got to remember, this is going to be an air-conditioned car. We have a condenser right up front, right there. So we have to suck through air through the condenser, through the radiator, and out the back of the fan. And it's also got to come in around all of the fan shroud. So there's a lot that these fans have to do. We're running a high compression motor. They produce a lot of heat. So we really need to keep this thing cool, and that radiator with those fans are going to keep this car extremely cool. We also have all of the new Dash 6 lines for the transmission cooler all hooked up, and I like running those off of the radiator because it keeps the transmission at a constant temperature. It doesn't vary up and down. Transmissions like to run at a constant temperature. A lot of guys go for the coolers that go on the front of the radiator. I don't particularly care for them unless you have some kind of thermostat on them to keep that transmission at the constant temperature. So we have that all hooked up. We also now have made up all of the lines to go from the power steering pump down to the power steering rack and pinion. This used to be a gearbox style steering system in here. It's since been taken out, and we've put a rack and pinion system in here. So it took a lot of work to make up all those lines for it because it does produce a lot of PSI. So we had to get good lines to make everything up. So this is going to run really, really well. I also want to show you the steering stops down here. There they are. And there's the steering stops we ended up making for this car. And the steering stops actually stop the wheels from turning too far to where the wheels will hit the frame or the steering rack, whichever is on that side. So we won't have those big wheels hitting the end of here or hitting inside over here. It'll keep everything where it needs to be. And remember, we had to make all of that. We also painted everything back here the proper colors that they need to be, and then cleaned up everything, as well as put all this liner inside the fender wells to keep the noise down a little bit when you go through gravel and all that. Plus it protects the fiberglass. So it really came out beautiful. And we did all this on all four corners of the car. We have all of our brake lines, everything's anchored and in place where it's supposed to be. We have everything set up the way it should be. Not cutting corners on this car. This car is an amazing car. It's going to have air conditioning, power steering, power disc brakes all the way around. It also is going to have heated and air-conditioned seats in it, a big radio. It has so much stuff in this car. It is going to be such a sick car. I can't wait to get this car running. So there you go, guys. There's what's going on with the 77 Corvette. We still have a ton of work to do on it, because remember, we're also going to be replacing the stock wiring harness that's in here with a nice aftermarket wiring harness, so we can run all the accessories on this car, because the stock wiring harness did not have enough accessory outlets on it to fuse all of the extras that we're putting into this car. So there you go, guys. There's what's going on. I will talk to you real soon. Have fun. Okay, bye. What a cool car.